Welcome back to Molecules Matter. I'm Dr. Dan, and on this podcast, we take a deep dive into the actual molecules inside plants and other natural sources that change human biology. Not the marketing, not the folklore, not the surface level nutrition advice. We talk about the molecules, the beautiful substances that interact with your genes, your enzymes, your mitochondria, your inflammatory pathways, and that ultimately decide whether your body functions optimally or deteriorates over time. But here's what I believe. New molecules equals new signals equals new cellular outcomes equals a new you. Today's molecule is small, aromatic, volatile, and incredibly powerful. It's the compound responsible for the warm, spicy scent of cloves. It's called Eugenol. And while most people associate cloves with holiday desserts or dental offices, this molecule has profound biological effects that extend far beyond flavor. Today we're going to explore what Eugenol is molecularly, where it comes from, how plants make it, what it does inside your body, how it interacts with inflammation, oxidative stress, microbes, and even pain pathways, and how much is safe and effective. Let's now zoom in and talk about eugenol, the molecule. Eugenol is chemically known as 4-allyl-2-methoxyphenol. It belongs to a class of compounds called phenylpropanoids, a family of plant-derived aromatic molecules built from the amino acid phenylalanine. Structurally, eugenol has a benzene ring, which is an aromatic core, a hydroxyl group, an OH, which gives it antioxidant properties, a methoxy group, OCH3, and an allyl side chain. That combination is critical. The phenolic hydroxyl group allows eugenol to donate electrons, meaning it can neutralize free radicals. The hydrophobic aromatic ring allows it to interact with lipid membranes, and the allyl side chain allows it to penetrate tissues easily. In other words, this is a molecule that moves fluidly throughout biological systems, and that's why it's so biologically active. Now let's talk about where eugenol comes from. Eugenol is most concentrated in cloves, the dried flower buds of the tree Syzygium aromaticum. Whole dried clove buds contain 20% eugenol by weight. Clove essential oils can contain 70 to 85% eugenol by weight. That's enormous on both accounts. Eugenol is also found in smaller amounts in cinnamon, basil, bay leaves, and nutmeg. But cloves are the superstar. Historically, cloves have been used in traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, dental anesthesia, and in food preservation. And in many of those uses, eugenol is the active molecule. Let's talk about how the plant makes eugenol, and this is where it gets fascinating. Plants don't make eugenol randomly. They make it through the phenylpropanoid pathway, which is one of the most important secondary metabolite pathways in plant biology. And here's how it works. It starts with phenylalanine. Then it's converted to phenylalanine ammonia lyase. And then that molecule is converted to cinnamic acid, which is converted to paracoumaric acid, which is converted to coniferol alcohol, and then finally eugenol. And that conversion happens via an enzyme called eugenol synthase. In plants, eugenol serves as a defense molecule against microbes. And it's an anti-herbivory compound, meaning it prevents herbivores from eating it. It's an insect deterrent, and it's an antimicrobial volatile. So when you consume cloves, you are ingesting the plant's chemical defense system. And that defense chemistry translates remarkably well to human physiology. A common theme you will see in this podcast is this. Molecules that plants make to survive are also good to help the body thrive and reach the upper echelon of human health. So what happens when you consume eugenol? Well, eugenol is lipophilic, meaning that it dissolves in fat. So after ingestion, eugenol is absorbed in the small intestine. It then undergoes metabolism in the liver, After that, it is conjugated via glucuronidation and sulfation, and then finally, eugenol circulates in the plasma in modified forms. This is an important point about molecules. Often it is a derivative or a metabolite of the molecule that imparts the medicinal properties to the body rather than the molecule itself. Now back to eugenol. It has a relatively rapid metabolism, meaning its half-life is not extremely long, but it is the metabolites that are produced that contain the medicinal benefits. But here's what matters. Even transient signaling metabolite molecules can trigger lasting gene expression changes. You don't need a molecule to stay in the bloodstream for 24 hours to change biology. You need it to activate pathways. And eugenol and its metabolites do exactly that. Now, let's talk about the health effects of eugenol and break down the major ways in which this beautiful molecule improves human health. Number 1, eugenol kills amoebas, bad bacteria, and viruses. Amoebas are single-celled microscopic organisms that live in fresh water like lakes, rivers, and hot springs. Amoebas also live in soil, dust, and sometimes inside humans and animals. Walking barefooted on the ground, swimming in lakes, eating contaminated meat, and even breathing in dust are some ways in which amoebas can be introduced to the body. Amoebas move by extending parts of their cell, called pseudopods or false feet, and engulf food particles, kind of like a blob slowly reaches out and swallowing something. While most amoebas are harmless, a few species can infect humans and cause health issues, including severe diarrhea, ulcers, and a disruption of the gut-brain axis. Some amoebas can travel to the brain, where they can cause headaches, fevers, confusion, and even seizures. Eugenol is a deadly poison to amoebas and kills them in short order. It is not just amoebas that fear eugenol. Basically, every species of bad bacteria in the human body cannot withstand the awesome power of eugenol. This is because eugenol disrupts the ability of bad bacteria to communicate with each other through a process called quorum sensing. When bad bacteria can't talk to each other, they become siloed and die off. Viruses also hide out and survive in the body by using quorum sensing. Eugenol also confounds the languages of viruses and obliterates them. This is why chewing on a clove bud is a handy way to make sure these bad invaders are gone from the body for good. Number 2, eugenol can help with yeast infections. Do you struggle with yeast infections? If so, eugenol can help with that by killing bad yeast in the body by limiting their ability to grow and communicate through disruption of quorum sensing. Number 3, eugenol reduces bloating. Eugenol and cloves can help reduce bloating by relaxing the smooth muscle of the gastrointestinal tract and reduce spasms. Eugenol can also help by reducing the presence of gas-producing bad bacteria. Number 4, eugenol can help reduce pain. Pain is something that we all suffer from in life and is part of being human. Eugenol can help relieve pain because it works by the same mechanism of action as aspirin and acetaminophen by blocking the COX-2 and NF-kappa B enzymes. This is a big deal, given the potential dangers that acetaminophen might pose to vulnerable populations. Taking eugenol, which has safely interacted with humans for thousands of years, is a good and safe way to go to reduce pain. Number 5, eugenol boosts gut microbiome health. One reason why eugenol is so powerful for the body is that it selectively kills bad bacteria, viruses, yeast, and parasites without negatively impacting good bacteria. As a result, good bacteria are not only able to survive, but they thrive in the absence of bad microorganisms. This means that your gut microbiome health can be taken to the next level when eugenol is consumed on a regular basis. Number 6, anti-inflammatory properties of eugenol. Cloves are one of the best natural inhibitors of inflammation. This is because eugenol in cloves can turn off many genes that are stuck in the on position when the body is chronically inflamed. If your body is regularly inflamed, consider eating cloves with the large amount of eugenol it contains on a regular basis. Number 7, eugenol protects the brain. The brain is a command center of the body and needs to be protected from lifestyle factors that are present 24/7 and are intent on damaging the brain. Eugenol, due to its strong anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, protects the brain from being damaged and acts like a protective shield around this critical organ. There are some nice studies showing that eugenol can reduce the risk of dementia, Alzheimer's, and other neurodegenerative disease states. Number 8, reproductive function and eugenol. Eugenol is one of the best molecules in maintaining a healthy reproductive system in both females and males. Eugenol balances hormone levels and reduces symptoms of PMS, perimenopause, menopause, and endometriosis in women. Eugenol in men can help improve both sperm count and sperm health, along with reducing the occurrence of reproductive tumors. Fertility is improved in both women and men when eugenol is present in the body. Number 9, eugenol and cancer prevention. Eugenol has potent anti-cancer properties because it is one of the best molecules that quickly sends malfunctioning cells to their demise, which is a scientific process known as apoptosis. Who would have thought that this little dried bud could give cancer a quick punch in the gut? Number 10, eugenol and oral health. Chewing on a clove bud is one of the easiest things to do if you have a toothache. The molecular structure of eugenol allows it to readily be absorbed through the hydroxyapatite structure of the tooth that makes up the enamel and help it to get into the center of the tooth where it can relieve pain. Cloves also kill the bad bacteria in the mouth and boosts health of the oral microbiome. Chewing on a clove is also an easy remedy to chronically bad breath, a condition known as halitosis. Number 11, bone health and eugenol. There is some emerging evidence that eugenol can help to keep bones strong, especially in postmenopausal women. The reason for this is due to eugenol's powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Bones remain strong, and calcium is not lost to a large degree when the inflammatory cycle in the bones is in balance. Safety and dosage of eugenol. This is critical, and let's talk about this now. Eugenol is powerful, and dose matters. In small amounts from culinary cloves, very safe. Clove powder in food, safe. Eugenol from clove tea, safe. Eugenol in clove essential oil in high doses, potentially not safe, because high concentrations can irritate tissues, cause liver stress, and even induce cytotoxicity, meaning it could cause cancer in very, very large amounts. So the estimated acceptable daily intake, the ADI for eugenol, is approximately 2.5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day. So for a 70 kilogram adult, that would be 175 milligrams per day. But typical dietary intake is much lower. And one whole clove contains roughly 20 milligrams of eugenol, depending on the size of that clove. And that's what I would suggest. So culinary use is well within safety margins. Essential oils require caution, because remember that more is not always better. It's just more, and it can even be damaging. The scientific literature recommends chewing on one whole clove per day, or steeping 3 cloves in 8 ounces of hot water for 5 minutes, straining out the cloves, and then drinking the water, the clove tea. Remember, molecules matter, and dose matters even more. So let's talk about eugenol and an analogy, a fire pit analogy, and let's zoom out to do that. Most of the health benefits surrounding eugenol have to do with inflammation. Let's talk about the analogy of a fire. Fire in a fire pit is needed when camping to cook food, have a charming conversation, and keep warm on a cold night in the mountains. Keeping the fire in the body in check is known as acute inflammation, and is a good thing. It keeps the body on its toes and drives healthy biochemical mechanisms. Danger can happen when the fire becomes so large that it starts spewing embers everywhere that can catch surrounding vegetation and structures on fire. Then you have a real emergency on your hand. In the body, this emergency is known as chronic inflammation. This runaway state can cause damage to essentially every system of the body. Eugenol is like the vigilant friend that carefully watches the fire. They add just enough fuel to the fire to keep it at a comfortable level. They quickly stamp out any ash that escapes from the fire and lands on the ground. This friend has water and a fire extinguisher on hand in case the fire gets out of control. And they have a phone from which 911 can be called in case the fire gets too large to handle on their own. So eugenol doesn't smother the fire. It doesn't smother inflammation. It controls it and keeps it at a healthy level. That's the beauty of molecules from plants, phytonutrients. They evolve to defend, and those defensive properties translate directly to us. So if someone wants to incorporate eugenol safely, they can chew on a clove bud daily. They can use whole cloves in cooking. They can add clove to tea blends or make clove tea themselves by steeping 3 cloves in 8 ounces of hot water for 5 minutes. They can use small culinary amounts of cloves in spice rubs. And they should consider using standardized extracts like clove oil cautiously. And remember, anybody with any medical concerns or pre-existing medical conditions should consult with their personal physician before taking nutritional supplements, including essential oils. And so with that, they should avoid ingesting large amounts of essential oil and applying undiluted oil internally. When it comes to being healthy, a food-first strategy always wins. So, final thoughts. Eugenol is a small molecule with a broad biochemical footprint, and it reminds us of something important. Plants are chemical factories. Every spice in your cabinet contains bioactive molecules that evolved over millions of years. And when you consume them, you aren't just eating flavor. You are consuming information, chemical information, signal information, blueprint modifying information. That's why molecules matter. And until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep upgrading your internal blueprint by consuming powerful molecules like eugenol. I'm Dr. Dan, and this is Molecules Matter.